with an E. And first of all, I wanted to say that this movie is really beautiful, and so is the history behind it, I believe. And it's been lovely, like listening to you talk about your faith. And so, what I really wanted to know was for preparing for the roles in this movie, can you take us through some of the steps and also like what you may have done on set to kind of keep the references together and keep your preparation up?
Um, I think that it was a lot of research. Um, what also helped was the book Searching for Sarah Rector. Um, Reading that and learning the history behind how Sarah Rector, Sarah Rector's family, and all the generations before Sarah Rector's family came to be, including of tears. Um, it was very informing, but also very emotional because Black people at that time weren't respected or supported the way they should have been. Um, but it also helped me understand why Sarah Rector was so, I wouldn't say tough, but like, um, I can't seem to find the words, but why she would stand up for what she believed in, what she believed was right. Um, and on set for preparing for Sarah Rector, it was mostly talking with the other actors like Zachary Levi, Miss Sonequa, and Mr. Kenric, and getting to know them, yes, on a character role level, but also as a person just on set. Um, the basic questions that laid that very strong primary foundation, so we could build in, so we wouldn't feel awkward when we were on set and we were talking to each other. Just that building that level of understanding, I think was really helpful. So I could understand Sarah Rector's character and also the community's character, the different people's characters and how they respond to different situations really made it easier for me to understand what Sarah Rector was going through at the time and who were the people she trusts and who were the people she didn't trust, or some people she was still questioning about.
It was a lot of, Google. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of like, what
Yeah.
is this? What had happened? Who are these people? And we would dig into the, kind of bowels of the internet, and 'cause there's a lot of wrong information, there's a lot of misinformation about Sarah Rector out there. A lot of it we found out about from the family. And we're so grateful they were with us in Kansas City, and we got to
Yes.
spend time with her grandchildren, her great grandchildren. It was amazing. And they love the film, and that's like one of the biggest things that
Yeah,
matters, right?
that's
But
right.
we weren't able to really have a lot of conversations with them because we were kind of in that like place where you're sworn to secrecy, where you can't talk about what you're doing. So we had to just kind of lean on our own research, and so we would combine, we would go off, and we would find what we could, and then we would come back together and put them together. We
Hmm.
did a lot of like general research of the time. Everybody needs to know about how Oklahoma came to be. You learn so much about just that. So
Yes.
learning about that, we literally just had to piece it together like a puzzle, right? And then even trying to get the accents right. It's not
Hmm.
quite the deep south, but it's not quite. And then the time period, music was a big one.
Yeah, music, that was
you
hard to
It was
find.
hard to find it.
Everything in that time period is like hard to find.
Yeah.
And honestly, the best example I've heard of that came afterward, or really earlier this week when we met the family, had a screening in Kansas City, and a couple of the I think the grandchildren,
Hmm.
um, they come up to me and they said, "Hey, so we don't have a picture of our grandfather, Joe. Like it doesn't happen because he passed away. Joe ended up passing away, I think around 40. It's a little bit of mystery around his death, but it was on a train coming back through Texas, and he passed away unfortunately. But they were like, we don't have any images of him, so can we take a picture of you and let that kind of stand in its place, which was tremendously humbling, but also just speaks to how things just weren't documented. The stuff's just not available. So when we're preparing for this, we have to one just say like, is this even factual? Like, can we rely upon this? But then at the same time, you want to find what you can, but since it's so piecemeal, we have to take artistic liberty and kind of connect the dots with as much integrity as we can. But something like the accent or the music, you can't just go on Apple Music and be like,
No.
give me that early 1900s vibe.
Yeah.
It's like,
no.
it's like, what do you want? You want, I don't know,
Yeah,
jazz?
it
Or
didn't exist.
so it was a fun, but it made it fun to explore it and kind of mine the information and then take in what we could and kind of.
We felt a bit like detectives or investigative
Right.
journalists, and we also, of course, had to employ the wisdom of the Lord and just be like, all right, Lord,
Oh, yeah.
we done what we can. You're gonna have to lead us, the rest of the way.
Right.
Nice. Thank you so much. And congratulations on this project. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, cousin Nancy.
I was
We
just
see
gonna-
that. You see that green?
Yeah, if you didn't have that E on the end.
That's right.